read the WSDL document. Okay, already we done that. Now, given a WSDL document, okay, how to understand it? Once quickly we'll review it. Then we'll see how to create a client for that WSDL document. Here we don't know the web service. Okay, let's say the web service is developed by someone else. We have to write an application which will consume this web service. Okay, responsibility now. What is it? Let's say a web service is developed. Already someone has developed it. We don't know, and we are not familiar with the code. Web service, how it was developed, we are not familiar. Let's say you got the WSDL document. Okay, the only thing you got is, let's say, the WSDL document. Now you have to actually sorry, you have to actually write an application or client application to access that WSDL document. That is what your task is, let's say. Okay, yes. So let's see how to do that. Just a second. Okay. So the web service which we are going to study is address book service. Yeah, this is the WSDL document. Now, what is our task? To study this WSDL document and generate a client a client application, consume this web service. Okay. So first of all, in a web service we'll have operations, right? So we'll try to understand how many operations are there in this web service and where to start from port type element. You know that, right? You have to start from the port type element here. You see, you will find that here you got how many operations in this web service. Two. One is add entry, the other one is find entry. You see, the first operation add entry, you'll find that it only takes an input. It doesn't return any result or output. There's no output for this method. Now, here, what input it takes? You see, the message is add entry request. On top, you got this message, add entry request. It is referring to an element called as add entry. And where to find the details about this add entry? Where to find out the details about this add entry element? Where are they configured? They are configured in. No, we are looking at message itself. So the data type details are configured in types element. Types. Okay, you see you got types. In the types you'll find it. You see add entry. It says it's a complex type, it seems. You got a sub element called as entry again. See type equal to entry. Can you people give me the class definition of this add entry? All of you, please give me the class definition of add entry. Okay, add entry. The element name is args0. You're right. Just one thing here. Add entry. Sorry. Add entry. args0. That's it. Entry is again a complex type. Let's see. The type attribute here, it refers to another XML element here. The type attribute refers to another XML element. There it is. Here it is. Entry. Okay. And it's a complex type with this sub elements in it. So how do we represent it in Java? This entry element, how do we represent it in Java? Yes. That's right. Class entry string city for each element. So they're all of type strings. String city, string state, postal code and all. Okay. Yes. Yeah, you got other elements also here, like street and name, postal code. There is name, there is postal code. You have to add a variable here. All are type strings, but it is not. Sorry. These types need not be strings always. They can be different types also. Okay. Yes, these types need not be string type. They can be different types. Okay. Yeah. So this is about the add entry input message. Add entry is the input message for that service operation. Which operation? Add entry operation. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Now here we got another operation, right? Just a second. We got another operation. Yeah. Find entry. Let's see this one. Okay. Just a second, please. Sorry. Yeah. Actually, these days I'm getting the call very frequently. I found the reason yesterday. Okay, but I know one reason is because already I've got sinusitis. I got problem. I'm a sinusitis patient. That is the first issue. The second issue, why I'm getting this cold very frequently these days, is that because of the place where I live. Actually, the building here, we recently moved into this building 6 months back, I believe 6 or 7 months back. This is a newly constructed building, and we are in the ground floor. The problem is that this is a very new building. Just 6 months back we shifted. It is newly constructed. It seems because it is newly constructed, there will be some sort of issue. It seems even I didn't know that. Yesterday someone has told me, and that is right actually. Otherwise I don't get the cold so frequently. And the other problem is it is winter. Though I get at least a couple of times in winter, but not this frequently. So I believe, by the next few days, I will be okay in Hyderabad. Yeah. So this is newly constructed building. So the first 1 year or so, it seems it will be little cold itself in this building. Yeah. So again, I'm a sinusitis patient. That is another problem. So if it is little cold, I'll easily catch that problem. I'll get the cold easily. It is winter season again. So these two things have made me, yeah, I think installer, yeah, because of paint and new paints and all, it will take, yeah, heater, I think we should go for that. Almost winter is gone, so the issue won't be there again. So even I actually, I don't see permanent cure for sinusitis. There will be, okay, Hyderabad, cool. So almost the winter is over now. So any few days, that's it. We'll be done with winter now in Hyderabad. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, nice place to stay. Yeah. Okay. Now, I think if people who didn't came to Hyderabad for a long time, if they see this Hyderabad, it is completely changed now. And after 1 year or 2 years, it will be completely changed. A new face of Hyderabad will be there because of metro rail, because of road widenings and all. There are a lot of things happening. Quickly, things are changing here. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to disturb the class. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. St. Louis. Uh-huh. Yeah, but the place where I live. Okay, cool. You are in. Yeah, I think you should visit again. Yes, now it is completely changed. The place where I live, it is just close to railway tracks here. So after this railway tracks, it's all open area for us. It's at least for 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, there is no building at all. So, in our place, naturally, it will be little cold. Okay. Yeah, it's minus 30, it seems. Yeah, biryani is, yeah, I'm sorry. I think we are, yes, it is, I heard it was minus 30 also, it seems, right? Minus 30, minus 20 in US, yeah. It's very cold. I think I can't really live in US. If I come to US, I think I think in one day I'll be out. Because I can't bear this temperature itself here. Okay. Okay, fine, cool. Yeah, but I think you people will definitely miss your home country. Yeah, I can understand. Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's go. Let's carry on. Yeah. Okay, cool. Situations make us comfortable. Yeah. But there are few things. I believe now. I see seriously. Yesterday, I met a doctor. 2 days back also I met a doctor. Again I went and I seriously wanted me to, permanently at least give me some solution for this sinusitis because I'm very allergic to this dust and cold. I want to get rid of it. So I think my treatment will start from Monday. Yeah. the sinusitis. Okay, let's carry on. I'm sorry. Yes, let's do this. So now where we are, sorry, hope it was a good discussion. Yeah. So yeah, find entry. This is an operation, but this operation takes an input as well as output. It returns an output as well. Let's see what input this find entry operation takes. Okay, yes. Find entry, it takes this input. What is it? Let's see. Find entry, it takes this input. And here it's a complex type with an element, sub-element called as arg0, and it is of type string. args0. And then you got the output. The return type is find entry response. Okay. Sorry. Find entry response. And you know, in the find entry response, you got a sub-element. Again, it is entry type. Just now we saw the entry type, right? It is same type. And the element name is return. Entry, return. That's it. Yeah. Okay. So you'll find that here for the find entry operation, find entry is the input and find entry response is the output. Okay. This is how it works here. Yes. Yes, a second please. Yeah. Okay. So now we know the operations, we know what they take, what is the input and what they return. Yes. Okay. Now actually, yes, I'm sorry. I have to tell you what is this. Find entry. Okay. Let me explain you the functionality here. Let me explain the functionality, that is also right. You know, generally this service, it has got two operations, right? One is add entry, which basically takes the entry. It's address book, which takes an entry. Entry contains name, city, state, postal code and all. And it will be added to the address book. Through this method add entry, you will add an entry to the address book. The entry details will be state, city, name, street, postal code and all. Now later on, you can search for an entry. And to search for an entry, you got find entry method. The input for the find entry is this type, find entry. But what you have to pass here, you have to pass a name. Okay, you have to pass a name. Okay, you have to pass name. Yes. So to search for the entry, you'll search for the entry based on the name. Now, actually the web service which we are looking at, I'm just explaining you the visual document. I didn't explain you the functionality initially. Now I'm doing it. The thing is, if you're working in any project, they will give you the web. They will, if they want you to access web service, they will give you the complete documentation of the web service. Okay, that means they will give you the documentation which explains what operations are there, what is the expected functionality, what they take, what they return. Everything will be documented. They will give you the documentation. So you don't need to panic. You know how to understand the functionality of it and all. Yes, definitely you'll get the document. Okay, if you're working, if you have been asked to develop access web service. Okay, yes, definitely they will provide you the details about the web service. Okay. Now I want to write a client application. What to do? How do we develop a client now for this web service? How to develop a client for this web service? Yes. What to do? You know, you need a client application, right? So you have to create a web project, and then already we created a client application here, right? So we'll use it. So in order to create a client application, a client, uh, creating a client means generating a proxy, right? Generating the proxy. Creating the client means generating the proxy, right? So in order to generate the proxy, what information is needed? In order to generate the proxy, what information is needed? WSDL. The location of the WSDL is important, right? Yes. Yeah. I'll copy this WSDL document URL. The WSDL URL, I'm copying it. And then we'll try to create the client proxy. So select the project. This is the client project. Right click on it. And you got new others option, right? Oops, I'm sorry. Just a second. I think I totally missed this people today. Just yeah, I'm sorry. So now what we have to do, once again I'll show you. Select the project. First of all, you have to copy the WSDL document location or URL, and then right click on this client project. You have new others. Other option is there. Under the others, you'll find web service client. Under the others, you'll find web service client. Okay, you have to click this web service client. I'm sorry. Click this web service client and click on next. Click on next. When you click on next, here it will prompt you to specify the URL here. Sorry, it will prompt you to specify the URL location. I'm sorry, I didn't take. I didn't copy it properly. Copy this. New others web service client. Click on next. Paste that with the document location. Okay. Now we click on next. So make sure that the web service endpoint, it refers to HTTP SOAP 1.2. Okay. And what is this data binding? People, Vineet and Faiza. So actually, I'm showing you people how to create how to study WSDL document and how to actually create a client for the WSDL given WSDL. We don't know who developed the web service. Let's say just you have been given a WSDL document and how to create the client for the WSDL document. That is what I'm talking about. Okay. So what is data binding here? What is data binding? XML. Yeah, actually, we saw data binding API, right? Which API did we see? Data binding API. Data binding API. We saw data binding API. What is that API? JAXB. So what it does basically, converts XML data into objects and objects to XML data, vice versa. Right? Yes. This access to won't use JAXB, but access to framework has got its own data binding API. It is called as ADB. ADB. Okay, access to users its own data binding API called as ADB. ADB means access to data binding. ADB stands for access to data binding. Okay. Yes. ADB. It uses its own data binding. If you want, you can also use XML beans here. We saw XML beans somewhere. What is XML beans? Yes. What framework it is? Yes, it is actually a data binding framework. XML beans. Yes, it is from Apache. It is a data binding framework. You should say it's a data binding framework. That's right. Okay, fine. So you can use this. Actually, what is the need for data binding APIs here? Is there any need for the data binding framework here? Not WSDL. Don't say WSDL. There is some other reason. The client and proxy, how they will exchange the messages. In the form of XML. As I said, the client and the web service client and web service, they exchange the messages using SOAP. What protocol is used? SOAP. SOAP is a protocol which is used by the client and server. And you can relate this SOAP to HTTP protocol. Generally, you know, if you got a web client and web server, how they interact with each other using how they interact. Web client and web server, how they interact with each other. A web client and the web server, how they interact with each other. No, a web client means a browser, and a web server, how they interact with each other. Using HTTP protocol. That's right. They use HTTP protocol, right? Similarly, a web service and a web service client, they both interact with each other using SOAP. SOAP is a protocol, as I said. Here, the SOAP is XML. That means always the data between the service and the client is exchanged in the form of XML itself. Okay, always the data is exchanged in the form of XML itself. So the client, it is a Java client. You see, it will get the response in the form of XML, right? The proxy on the client side should take this XML response and it has to convert it into Java objects, the response. And similarly, if the service is developed in Java, then the XML data should be transformed into Java format again. So there is a requirement for XML to Java objects and Java to XML transformations here, Java objects to XML transformations here, right? And you know that it is done by the data binding frameworks. Okay? Yes. Fine. That is the need for the data binding frameworks here. Hope you people got it. Now you can click on finish. So what is being generated here? What we are trying to generate? Let me see if you people are in the sync or not. We are generating Java artifacts from the WSDL documenter. Okay, fine. What Java artifacts are they? Not ADB, proxy, a client proxy. We are generating a client proxy which we can use to interact with the web service. Generating a client proxy which we can use to interact with the web service. You people saw that, right? I've selected web service client option initially. That itself should provide you the details. Yeah, you got it? Now the proxy is generated. Now we got the proxy here. Yes. So let's see this proxy. Here under the source you will find it. You see sample.addressbook.service. This you got an address books service stub. This is the one which is generated now. Sorry. Okay. So now we got the service. So what is the next thing we have to do here? We have to use this proxy. Sorry, we got the proxy. What is the next thing we have to do? We have to use this proxy to interact with the service or consume the service here. So in the service we got operations, right? In the service we got operations. What are the operations in the service? You know that one is add entry, the other one is find entry. Let's add an entry here. Okay. Yes. Address book service stub dot, sorry, we have created a stub. Now if I want to add an entry. If I want to add an entry, what is the first thing we have to do here? Can you people tell me? If I want to add an entry, what is the first thing we have to do here? We have to create an entry object and add the details, entry details to the entry object. That's right. So you see there are many entry classes. Please import the appropriate entry class. Our entry class which we want to use, where it is? Where is the entry class? It is in the stub. It's inner class. It is in the stub. You see you have to import this one. Sample.addressbook.service.addressbook stub. It belongs to this class. Create an entry object and then add the entry details. You'll find certain methods for each property. This set name, say Harry. Set street. Entry dot set city. Entry dot set state. That's it. Now, where zip code also leave it. Entry dot postal code. Yeah. So we got the entry object here. And here we have to add this entry to the address book on the service side. For that, now we got a method. First of all, this entry object again, it should be wrapped in add entry object. Create add entry object here. In add entry, you will find a setter method for that. Set arcs, you see, and pass the entry object. That's it. And then here we have to call the method address book service dot add entry and pass the entry object here. Add entry. That's it. So this method, will it return any value? Is there any return type? Actually, for address add entry, there is no return type. Okay, this operation you won't find any return type. Yeah. So there is no return type. Just we are adding an entry. Now, okay, I'll just print a message that entry is added. So after adding the entry, what is the next thing we have to do here? So the next thing is we have to search an entry or find an entry. Okay. Yes. So if you want to find an entry, if you want to search an entry, what is the first thing you have to do? So first create an entry object, find entry object. After adding the entry, we'll try to search for the entry object. Okay. Or else, let's do this. First we'll add an entry. I'll run this code, okay? Yeah, it says entry is added. Okay. Now we'll write the code to search the entry. I'll comment this code. Find entry dot set args. We have to pass the name of the entry, Harry. And then we'll call that method on the stub. Address book service stub dot find entry. Pass the entry object here. So what it returns? Find entry method. Sorry. It returns find entry object. Sorry, not find entry. Find entry response. You get a find entry response. In the find entry response, see this entry object is there with the name return. We try to do this. Find entry dot get return. It returns what? The entry object. It returns entry object. Yeah. That's it. Now let's read these details. Entry dot get name. Get city. State. Postal code. State. Yeah, that's it. Now let me run this code. You see, You got the entry details. This way, yes, we can add an entry and we can find an entry here. This is about address book service. Yeah. Now we'll try to explore SOAP. SOAP stands for Simple Object Access Protocol. Basically, SOAP is XML based and it is used by the web service client and server. A web service client, whenever it wants to place a request on the service, it will create a SOAP request and all the details about the request, it will add it to the SOAP request and it will send it to the service. And this web service, if it wants to send any response back to the client, the web service, in order to send the response back to the client, what it does, it creates a SOAP response and it will add the response details to the SOAP response and it will send it back to the client. Okay, here now we'll see how this SOAP request and SOAP response, how they look basically. And I'll show you a real SOAP message which is constructed by the client and the server or service. We will try to intercept the SOAP messages which are exchanged by the web service client and the web service. Okay, let's do that. So first of all, what we have to do is we have to download a tool. You need a tool for that. That tool is called as TCP Monitor. And TCP Monitor is actually from TCP Monitor is from Apache Software Foundation itself. Here you'll find the downloads section. Just a second. Releases. Yeah. I'll paste the link in the GoToMeeting chat. All of you please copy this and save it somewhere. So this is the download link for TCP Monitor, which is used to intercept the SOAP messages which are exchanged by the web service client and web service. You know, you have to download this binary distribution zip file. Download binary distribution zip file. This page cannot be found. You can take some other list here. You got errors list. You can see that. You can see the errors list. and download it accordingly. Okay. While we are getting this one, I think this site is down. After some time, you try to download it. Maybe you'll get it. Okay. So still, if you got any issues, please let me know. I'll give you the tool. Please with me. You'll definitely able to download it. Okay, not a problem. So I have the tool already. So let's see how to use this tool. You have to download that binary distribution. Okay. I have downloaded that binary distribution and I have actually extracted it. In the extracted content, you'll see a build directory. If you open this build directory, you see you'll find a executable file here, tcpmon batch file. So I want you people to go to this location from the command prompt. From the command prompt, browse to that location. From the command prompt, browse to that location, and then you type this command tcpmon. This is actually the name of the batch file. Okay, we'll execute that batch file. You see, once you do this, you'll get a small application here. You see, small application will pop up. This is the tool which I'm talking about, and you'll find two tabs here: admin and center. Admin tab and center tab. Now, what you have to do is we want to intercept the SOAP messages. So, how this tool works? Let me explain it. Okay. Actually, where is our web service? Where is our web service? It is actually deployed on the Tomcat server, and Tomcat server is listening on the port 9999. Okay, here is our web service on this server. Address, book, service. And now our client, web service client, is trying to access this service. So the TCPmon tool will sit between the service client and the head service. Now what we have to do is we have to write the code, slightly modify the code in such a way that this service client requests the SOAP messages which are generated by the service client, they are directed to this TCPmon. We have to make sure that those messages diverted to this TCPmon tool. So TCPmon tool should listen or should take the SOAP messages. TCPmon also listens on a port. You have to configure the port. Let's say I'll configure the TCPmon port number as 1234. We'll configure the TCPmon port number as 1234. So TCPmon will take this port, and to the TCPmon you have to also configure the target server port number also, 999. That means TCPmon should take the service client request SOAP messages, and then it will display the SOAP messages to us, and then it will forward that SOAP messages to the target server 999. Okay, this way. Then even now here the service will return the SOAP message to the TCP-mon itself because it is getting the request from TCP-mon now. And TCP-mon will again display that response message, and in turn it will forward that response message to the service client. This is how the TCP-mon works. So now let's configure the port number for the TCP-mon and also the target server port number. You see here, make sure that you click this, you select this admins tab. And here you have to configure the port number. You want the TCP-mon to listen on which port? Let's say I want the TCP-mon to listen on port 1234. And the target host name, that means the Tomcat server is hosted on which machine? The same machine, right? Local host. Otherwise, if the Tomcat server is on some other machine, then you will give the IP address of that machine. And then target port number, that means the Tomcat server port. What is it? 9999. Actually, my Tomcat server is listening on port 9999. It is not necessary that your Tomcat server also should listen on the same port. Probably you might have configured a different port number. Okay? Yes. And then now we'll click on add here. Just click on add. Once you click on add, you see you'll get a tab here, port 1234. Port 1234, a new tab has arrived here. You got a new tab here. See, listen port is 1234. Host is this one. Yes. It says waiting for the connection. Down, you'll see XML format. Check this box, XML format. That's it. Now your TCP-mon tool is configured to listen on 1234 port. 1234 port. Okay, it is ready to intercept the client's request. So what is the next thing we have to do here? Now we have to make sure that this client will send a message to the TCP-mon. But how this client can send a message to the TCP-mon here, where to modify this? Actually, you have to modify the stub because stub is responsible for sending the messages, right? Stub will have those details. So open this address book stub. I'll show you where to modify this. You got an address book stub, right? Address book stub. And here in the address book stub, you try to search for the default constructor. Address book stub default constructor. Here it is. In the address book stub class, you search for the default constructor. Okay, yes. And here you see you got the details about the service, on which server it is hosted, on which port number it is listening, and all such details. Okay. So you'll find that we have to change this port number now. What should be the port number? What should be the port number now? What should be the port number? 1234. Yes, it should be 1234. So that means the stub will now send the messages to the TCP-mon. Okay. Yeah. Now that's all you have to do. That's it. Only one change. So let's run this code once. First, I will call this add entry, but we'll add a different entry now. Okay. Let's say the entry is Raj MTN. Okay, that's it. I'll run this code. As of now, you see the top, still the mon is, TCP mon is blank here. Now when I call the service, you see what happens. It says entry is added. Now open this TCP mon. Yes, great. You got the SOAP message. Copy the SOAP message. First I'll show you the SOAP request. I'm showing you the SOAP request now. All of you please study this SOAP request once. Go through the SOAP request. I'll give you some time. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Now all of you carefully go through the SOAP request and try to understand the SOAP request. Okay. You guys another 20 minutes or so. 20 minutes. Yeah. So, sorry, I'm back. So, I have a question for you people. The first question is this just a SOAP message or do you see any other information here? Is this just a SOAP message or do we have any other details here? Actually, this is not just a SOAP message. This is a HTTP request. This is a HTTP request. If you people are familiar with HTTP request, all of you who have attended my web application class, they definitely know this. What is this first line here? What it is known as? What is this first line? What it is known as? It's okay. It's HTTP request. In the HTTP request, what is that first line? No, not header. The first line of HTTP. Sorry. The first line of the HTTP request. What it will be? Request line. It is actually called as request line. The first line is the request line. Okay. So you have the service request details here, and these are the headers. HTTP headers. And this is the HTTP body. In the HTTP request message, in the request body, this is HTTP request message body. In the SOAP, in the HTTP request message body, you have the SOAP message. I'm sorry, this is SOAP message, and the root element of the SOAP message is envelope. And the SOAP message has got this envelope has got a sub element called as body again, and in the body you have the actual XML data. What is it? It add entry, right? That add entry object which we have created, for that add entry object, you see this XML data is generated. This XML data is generated here. Okay, yes. Fine. Hope you people got it. Okay, who generated this SOAP message? Who generated this SOAP message here? Who translated that add entry object to XML data? Who did this? No, it didn't generate SOAP message. It is only intercepting the SOAP message and it is displaying the SOAP message. It is just intercepting it. Yes, the proxy created it. The proxy does that. You got the stub or proxy here, right? So we are calling the stub method add entry and we are passing that add entry object to the stub. So this add entry method will take that object, add entry object, and then it is translating that or converting that add entry object to the So XML format here. Okay, it is translating it to I'm sorry, XML format. Okay, hope you people got it. And you see, this HTTP request is also created by the proxy itself. I'm sorry. Okay, is it clear for you people? And it is sending this message to the server. Always SOAP message is wrapped in HTTP request. SOAP request is wrapped in HTTP request. Why so? Because already the web or internet, you'll find that there is support for HTTP protocol, right? So they can understand HTTP protocol. Your web can understand HTTP protocol. It is a standard protocol. That's the reason why the SOAP messages are transferred by wrapping them in the HTTP messages. Okay, hope you people got it. Fine. Now let's examine the SOAP response here. As of now, for this message there is no response, right? Let's examine the response also once. This is a response. What is there? Nothing. In the HTTP, this is a HTTP response actually. This HTTP response, you don't have any message body. There is nothing here. Okay. Fine. So is it clear for you people how they are actually exchanging the messages here? So you people saw a SOAP message which contains, basically in the SOAP message you got a SOAP envelope. It's an element. Here in the SOAP envelope, sorry, you got a sub element called as body, which actually contains the data. Okay. Okay. Hope this is clear for you people. Right? Yeah. Any doubts? Sorry. Sorry. Okay. Good. So I can say that now you people are comfortable with the web services. There is one more thing which I want to show you, that is fault handling. Fault handling. So we'll talk about it in the next class. Fault handling and JAX WS. So these two things I will talk about it in the next class. Okay. So we'll see that in the next class. So we have a class tomorrow at our regular time, that is 7:15 a.m. Indian time. All of you, I request you people to join the meeting as soon as possible. And then we'll start the class. Okay. Yeah, I'm stopping it here today.